Already Tracy the challenge deposit, still fog, heavy bags, and inexperienced. It's mainly going to be inexperienced since that's kind of where everything lies in the sense that we don't actually have any perks to work with. So now one of us is a thief and the other one's a hacker, which... I mean, we've still got a breaching charge, which is great and all, but it's still not all that great because inexperience is still inexperience, and generally we want some decent perks to not have things go terribly with. Now I think I leave the camera, so we're just going to leave it at that, and we'll just knock them out first. But aside from that, there's going to be fog and then there's going to be heavy bags, which are both not all that great in the sense that we can't really see anything with fog. And for heavy bags, that's going to make moving the cache later on a bit more challenging than we would ideally like. And all in all, because it's inexperienced, we can't just use a scrambler and get into the basement. That's not really an option, so we're going to instead have to disable the camera, which might be slightly difficult to do since we can't just disable it. We're going to have to either shoot it, or maybe for Cyber's case, Cyber's actually able to disable it, but I'm not able to, so that's not really my concern here. I'm instead just going to do that and then quickly just back him up, hopefully before someone else shows up and causes any problems, which does not sound very far-fetched, but we're just going to do that first. And then we're going to get this door open first, and then we're just going to wait for Cyber to actually start clearing the basement, which might take a while, but it is in fact still heavy bags, which... Right, carrying a bag is suspicious, but instead then we could just do this, carry it over here, hop over here, in a very, very awkward manner, but definitely in a very, very doable manner, and then we're just gonna hostage you over there, and you're gonna go into this corner over here. Now that looks to be the camera operator, so we're just going to start considering... I mean, sure. Right then, we've cleared all of that, so all of the cameras are down, which is always great. And I've got a keycard now, which is also great. Now that's not exactly the keycard I was expecting. Manager, are you gonna cause a problem? Perfect, right then. Since the manager doesn't seem to want to cause any problems with the whole guard hostage being right over there, if I could interest you in just walking over here real quick, that would be absolutely fantastic. So anyways, put your hands up, and then go slightly further into this corner, and then don't get noticed by absolutely anyone, which I consider relatively important, but we're just gonna do that real quick, and then we're just gonna try and find a safe and try and find all of the places that Cyber would possibly need. Now that is certainly interesting. Maybe not what we had in mind, but we're gonna have to find Maddox Gray's office, which is right over here, so that's perfectly... Look, we're not doing this. And I suspect the other... Look, we're not doing this either. So we're gonna do all of that. That's not gonna be all that great, but Maddox Gray's office is open now, and I guess someone can actually go inside and investigate. Or more accurately, just start a hack over there and not really investigate anything, but that's besides the point. There's still the other room over there, which we're going to want to get open so that Cyber can actually hack 40. I've interrogated the manager, haven't I? So all we really need to know is just where the safe is. And hopefully it's not going to be downstairs, because that's going to be rather awkward. And it's not, so we're just going to assume that it's going to be upstairs, and we're going to have to get a manager's office open to actually... You did not just do that. But I mean, you're on the ground now, so that's not really a problem, but we are still going to knock you out and bag you up. And then hope for the best of the guard over here, because that's kind of what we ideally want. So we're just going to back off all the way over here. Get this lock picked open, and hopefully if someone... Why are you bringing it down? You know what, it doesn't matter at all, we're just gonna go through here. Do not tell me that a safe is in one of the camera rooms, especially if it's downstairs, because that's not really my responsibility, especially if it's downstairs, which seems to be exactly the case, but we're just gonna go through here, we're gonna largely ignore it, and then we're just gonna go through here, and guess what, the safe is gonna be right over here, so slight comedy, but we're gonna get it open. And presumably Cyber has cleared the rest of the vault, so we're just gonna open a vault, and hopefully the guard over there is gonna walk towards the vault, which would be what we ideally want. So since that has indeed happened, we know that it's gonna be over here, so that we can go through here and start working on actually getting everything that we need, and then grabbing a bag, and then hoping that heavy bags won't be too much of a problem. Even though inexperience is by far the larger problem here, in the sense that we've got less from the lockpick, and also, well, that's just going to take an overall larger amount of time, And now we're gonna run slightly, not necessarily slower, but for less time. And well, if we're gonna go out through here, we're already out of sprint. And there are still very well a few guards that could possibly exist around here, which would be absolutely terrifying, but we're just gonna pretend that they don't exist for now. And well, there's one more thing about heavy bags. It's that thing over there. We can't really jump over it, so we're just gonna take the long route over here because Cyber wants to just, if you insist. But regardless, that's a daily challenge done in just under 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Cheers everyone, have a great time!